operating system. Good day everyone, my name is Diana Maria Montiano from 1IEA, and now we'll talk about the evolution of operating system. So before we start, I asked a person to know what is the importance of operating system to them.
Operating system helps us to control and connect with the internet of things around us and provide system services as well as linkage to its dependencies.
But first, let me tell you the importance of operating system. Operating system is the most important software that runs on a computer. It manages the computer's memory, the processes, as well as the software and hardware. It is also allows the computer user to communicate with the computer hardware without knowing or even without learning how to speak the computer's language. Without an operating system, a computer is useless. Why? Because there are several different computer programs running at the same time, and they all need to access your computer's central processing unit, or what we call CPU, memory, and the storage. And the operating system coordinates all of these to make sure the programs get what it needs. What is operating system? Operating system is a program that acts as an interface between the user and the computer hardware. And operating system controls the execution of all kinds of programs. It is a software which performs all the basic tasks like file management, memory management, process management, handling input and output, and controlling devices such as mouse, keyboards, touchpad, disk drives, display adapters, USB devices, and printers. Evolution of ENIAC to operating system. In 1942, physicist John Mauchly proposed an electronic calculating machines. It's because back there, US needed to calculate complex wartime ballistic tables. And because of this ENIAC, which we call Electronic Numerical Integrator in Computer, it was developed in between 1943 and 1945. ENIAC is the first large-scale computer to run at electronic speed without being slowed by any mechanical parts. And for a decade, until a 1955 lightning strikes, electronic numerical integrator and computer may have run more calculations than all mankind had done up to that point. By the early 1950s, the routine had improved somewhat with the introduction of punch cards. Because of these punch cards, or because of these developing punch cards, instead of using plugboards, it was now possible to write programs on cards and read them using punch cards. By the early 1960s, most computers manufacturers had two distinct and totally incompatible product lines. On the hand, there were the word-oriented, large-scale scientific computers such as the 1794, which were used for numerical calculations in science and engineering. And on the other hand, such as the 1401, the used for the character-oriented commercial computers, which were widely used for tape sorting, printing by banks and insurance companies. On 1963, there is another system built. It's that what we call compatible time-sharing system, or what we call CTSS. That was one of the first time-sharing operating system because it was developed at the MIT Computation Center. It was first demonstrated on MIT IBM 709 in November 1961. It was begun to operate in the summer of 1963 until 1973, and it was described in a paper presented at the 1962 in Spring Joint Computer Conference, and greatly influenced the design of other early time-sharing systems. Okay, Multics. Multiplex Information and Computing Services. It was developed in the 1963 up to 1969 period through the collaboration of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or what we call MIT, General Electric or GE, and Bell Labs. It was a mainframe time-sharing operating system. And had all influenced all modern operating systems since from microcomputers to mainframes. Unix. Unix operating system started in the 1970s periods at the Bell Labs research centers. It is family multitasking, multi-user computer operating system that derived from the original AT and T Unix. And also, Unix operating system become popular in the academic world with government agencies and with many companies. And now, in our generations, the DOS, and full of this operating system, the dominant operating system for the personal computer, PC, throughout the 1980s up to present period, the acquisition of marketing of MS-DOS were pivotal in the Microsoft Corporation transitions to software industry. The revised systems was renamed MS-DOS or Microsoft this operating system and quickly came to dominate the IBM PC market. During the mid-1980s, the development began to start. The growth of networks of personal computers running network operating system and distributed operating system. In a network operating system, the users are aware of the existence of multiple computers and can log in to remote machines and copy files from one machine to another. Each machines run its own local operating system and has its own local users, while distributed operating system, in a contrast, in one that appears to its users as a traditional uniprocessor system. Even though it is actually composed of multiple processors, the user should not be aware of where their programs are being run or where their files are located. That should all be handled automatically and efficiently by operating system. This is when the Windows 2000 used until now. Functions of operating system. There are a lot of functions of operating system. The first one is memory management, which refers to the management of primary memory or main memory. Next is processor management, which process gets the processor when or for how much time. Device management, which manage device communication via their respective drivers, allowed to keep track of all devices and etc. File management, that normally organized into directories for easy navigation and usage. And security, which is password and similar other techniques that prevents unauthorized access to programs and data. Control over system performs the recording delays between requests for service and response for the system. Job accounting, that keep tracks of time and resource used by various jobs and users. Errors, detecting aids from dumps, traces, error message, and other debugging and error detecting aids. And lastly, coordination between other software users. Types of operating system: the Linux, Mac OS, iOS, Android, and Windows that we already know. Types of operating system: Linux, Mac OS, iOS, Android, Microsoft Windows. That's all, everyone. I hope you learned something from me about operating system, and thank you for watching. Once again, my name is Diana Marie Montrano from 1IEB.